Welcome back to the School of HardKnox podcast. The last time I dropped an episode was 945 days ago. And I didn't come back sooner because the lesson wasn't finished. Let's talk about that. It is time to get on the bus because class is in session. This is episode 147 of the School of HardKnox podcast, and it starts now. Thank you for listening to the School of HardKnox podcast. This show is about personal development for business success. Not only do we tell the stories of successful people in order to create more successful people, we want to help you turn your thoughts and ideas into reasonable, rational, and profitable action. This show is about my life experiences, your life experiences, and how we can work together to become the best versions of ourselves. Prepare to be inspired, motivated, and most importantly, challenged. Enjoy the show. All right, let's get into this. Man, do I still know how to podcast? I guess we're about to find out. Wow, so, man, where do we start? 945 days ago. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize it was that long. That's how much life been lifing. I didn't even realize it's been 945 days. I knew some time had passed, but when I did the calculation, the last episode that was released from this platform was June 23. I mean, what? June 23. That yeah, June 19th, 2023. 945 days ago. If you're listening to this on the day that it comes out, it will be MLK Day. It will be January 19th, 2026. And man, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, obviously, since I've been behind this microphone. And just as I said in the opening, coming back sooner wasn't in the cards initially. And that's just all based on the lessons that needed to be learned. For me, personally, professionally, as a father, as a husband, man, the last 2.5 years, I guess have been ups, downs, sides to side. But as I said, I didn't come back sooner because the lesson wasn't finished. Is the lesson finished now? I think so. I recently had a meetup with some of my bros, and we got to talking, and it just became apparent that my time of silence, my time of reflection is over, right? And now that I feel like I'm in a place again to where I have something to give to my community, to where I have something to give to you, the listener. And here we are. There's nothing like being in a room with transparency, vulnerability, with other men of God, men of principle, men of morality, family men, businessmen, and being challenged, right? And being kind of called out respectfully. That's a place that I'd like to find myself in a little bit more often because I think it breeds accountability, right? So as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. Iron was definitely being sharpened in that particular place on that particular day, where the discussion of finally and formally bringing back the School of HardKnox podcast from a season of silence. And I don't apologize. I don't make any excuses. I stepped away from the microphone because I had to come to a point where I had to listen to my own teaching. I had to listen to my own consulting, my own coaching, my own advice that I have been so accustomed to delivering to you, the listener, and to my community, Knox Nation, for so many years, 146 episodes. I had to really go back into the archives and say, okay, Knox, you're at a place now that you didn't see yourself being in when you started this particular show, but you're there now. You have all the tools, you have all the coaching, you have all the motivation, and it's all recorded. That's one reason why I never took the podcast down. Like, I never stopped paying for the subscription for the podcast host. I never did anything to formally discontinue the podcast. I still have all of the archives up on Apple Podcast and Spotify and TuneIn, because I personally became my number one listener. I became my number one fan, going back and listening to the interviews, listening to the, as we say, the successful people, interviewing the successful people to make more successful people. I went back and listened to those. I went back and listened to some of my coaching that I had done, sessions, private sessions, and sessions that we did through this show. And let me tell you, when you drink your own potion, when you drink your own concoction, your own medicine, sometimes it's a little tough to swallow. It's real easy to coach and counsel other people. Man, for me personally, right? It's real easy for me to be presented with somebody else's challenge, somebody else's issue, somebody else's question, and for me to kind of falsely, I guess, put myself into their scenario and deliver risk-free counsel. The challenge becomes when you are listening to your own voice on your own radio in your own car that's telling you to do things that you know you should have done, need to do, or have yet to do. And that's the place that I found myself in that past season. So many different things transpired. So in 23, I think the last episode had something to do with Super Dads. That was an event that we did with Crown Kids. That was braids and root beer and donuts or something, right? It was a Father's Day event that we did with Crown Kids. That was an amazing event where I got to interview some dads. And I knew kind of right there, I knew right there as I was recording that last episode that, man, that was hard. It was hard. That last episode was hard, right? And then we did Make It Count, 146. That last episode was hard. I think I even released it a day late, right? Because it was just hard to get through. Like, I was in a place where I was just, wondering if anybody was still listening, wonder if anybody was still taking action and what do we say? Reasonable, rational, profitable action. But it was a challenge, man. And I knew right then, man, this is the season. This is the season where I need to be silent. And I didn't know how long that silence was going to last. I didn't know if it was going to be 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year. Well, it wound up being 945 days. It wound up being 945 days. And a lot has happened in that 945 days. Most notably, my children are not babies anymore. I have 2 5-year-old twins, and I have a 9-year-old that are active in daily life, in extracurriculars. They're active. So it keeps me busy. It keeps my wife busy. We've still got the salon over in Liberty Center, which most of my listeners that are local, you're familiar with. You've been there, right? You've attended events there, whatever. Some of you get your hair done there. You buy the Crown Kids products. Thank you. We've got that. In 24, my grandmother passed away, which was way more difficult to process than I could ever imagine, because unlike all of the other or most of the other deaths that I had experienced in my adult life, this one was gradual, and this one was the inevitable. This one was somewhat slow, but it was so beautiful at the same time. So that was like a month, 2 months of just agonizing grief leading up to and then celebration of life, and then dealing with kind of the aftermath of her not being here still, right? But that was a huge shift for me in 24, in spring of 24. And then in late summer of the same year, I went from W-2 employee with very successful side hustle to 100% full-blown entrepreneur, co-founder, COO of Pixel Audio Video. And I literally went from, paycheck, safety net to get out there and get it each and every day. Right. And that's still the position I'm in now. And I can tell you it's been 17 months because I keep track. It's been 17 months of full-blown entrepreneurship, and it's been a wild ride that I wouldn't change anything, right? But I have so many lessons. I have so many pieces of the puzzle that I was able to personally put together based on all of the information and all of the counsel and all of the coaching that I had been doing for those prior episodes, for those prior 147 weeks, 146 weeks. I had to go back and listen and not only use my own teachings to motivate, but use my own teachings to map out the strategy of my mindset on how I needed to operate as an entrepreneur. When I came to you before, yes, I was entrepreneur. I was entrepreneurial, let's say that. But I did not have the same pressure that I have now, which is entrepreneur, right? There's a difference between being entrepreneurial and being an entrepreneur. Before, I was entrepreneurial. I coached entrepreneurial activities, entrepreneurial attitudes and mindsets. Most of the individuals that were on my coaching roster from that standpoint had W-2 positions, and they were trying to increase the revenue from their side hustle, simply put. Well, being an entrepreneur is totally different. And I should have took notes from my wife, to be honest with you, because she's been in the game as a full-blown entrepreneur for 11 years now. A lot of clarity in our relationship based on our shared experience. She's got 11 years in, I've got 17 months in, and I can honestly tell you that I'm starting to understand. There's things that I used to get frustrated with her about. There's things that I used to get upset about with her that I'm right there with her now. I'm right in the same boat. You know what I mean? We got two entrepreneurs running the house, and it's not always easy. Matter of fact, it's never easy. It's not always comfortable. Matter of fact, it's never comfortable, right? But we are figuring it out day to day. And I want to share with you as we move forward in this continued journey. I want to share with you a lot of different things that I learned from that season, to be honest. So there you go. You know what I mean? There's a lot has happened. A lot has happened. I even had family stuff going on. Church stuff going on. Like we wound up leaving our church that we were at for a few years prior that we had left before, and then we went back. We wound up leaving again, and it was a family church for us, so it was a fallout. And then you got to deal with the family fallout. Then you got to deal with the church fallout. Then you got to deal with the church hurt, and the trust issues, and all that kind of stuff. And that stuff just weighs on you, right? There's only so much you can ignore, especially when it comes to the local church that you attend. So there was a church search. There was finding a new local church, assimilating into a new local church, which we are actively doing now. And again, there's just all these moving pieces. So you got family problems, extended family problems. You got church stuff. You got entrepreneur financial stuff. You got, family deaths that you got to deal with. You got employment changes that you got to deal with. You got growing kids. I mean, it's just like life. Like, and in the midst of all of that, last year in 25, I turned 40. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I turned 40. And to be honest, I'm about to be 41 in about a month and a half. But something happened when I turned 40. Oh my gosh. Something happened. Something happened really good. And then something happened really strange as far as how I approach life now. And for those of you who have hit that milestone age or are about to hit that milestone age, you might understand what I mean when I say something happened. Because I don't know what happened. I literally woke up on March 2nd, 2025, and I stopped caring about a lot of stuff. I know that sounds harsh, but the things that used to concern me and worry me, the relationships that used to concern me and worry me, the scenarios, the environments, I just stopped caring about it. And I almost felt like I had a license not to care, to be honest. Like I said, I know that sounds harsh. I know it does. It is what it is. But I really understand the art of letting things go. And I understand the art of growing out of things. And I understand the concepts of boundaries, right? And limiting access to myself, to certain environments, certain people, certain relationships. And I'm at peace with that, man. I can't tell you how much I am at peace with that fact alone. That I wake up every morning and I'm concerned about probably 60% of what I was concerned about before. A lot of things just don't bother me anymore. Just don't bother me. Yeah. So there was all of that. And there's probably five more pages of things, right, that I could go through to express what took place over that season and why silence was necessary. There was times during the season where I was very angry. There's still times now where I'm just angry about certain things. There's times where I get down. There's times where I'm really excited. There's times where I'm really motivated. There's times where I don't even want to get out of bed. Right? I mean, it's a roller coaster sometimes, or it had been a roller coaster in that season of just trying to understand ultimately what God was doing in my life and how I was either helping or hindering his will for my life. Right. Because I'm not naive. Like, I know that I've done things contrary to what God was trying to do in my life. Like, I know I've fought against things in the past. You know what I mean? Like, and to be honest, every day I have to remind myself, hey, Lord, this is you. This is your life. I'm just living it, but you created it. So therefore I need to follow the will that you have for me. And I need to strive to be everything that you called me to be in this life that you have allowed me to live. And it's a daily thing that I have to remind myself who I'm living for. Right. And then again, I've got a beautiful wife and I've got wonderful children that sometimes all of that can be a struggle. Sometimes all of that, putting all those pieces together, trying to be super dad, trying to be super husband, trying to be, businessman of the year, entrepreneur, trying to be a great business partner. It's a lot. So I'm back to tell you that I'm back. Right. And we're going to not necessarily pick up where we left off because things have changed now. There's a lot of things that we talked about before, we coached before, that you need to hold on to, but there's some adjustments that need to be made. There's some mindset shifts that need to be made. There's some things that don't apply anymore. I'll give you an example. You don't hear many people talking about the grind culture anymore. You just don't. You don't hear many people talking about grind. You just don't. You don't hear that as much as you used to hear it, back in that former season. And there's reasons for that. I think people have woken up to the fact that, hey, you can grind as hard as you want to, but until you learn how to control your own environment, and then you make adjustments and you learn how to pivot on the external environment that's constantly trying to move its way into your environment, grinding is only going to get you so far. Just go to sleep, right? Get your 8 hours. You waking up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, grind. It just, I think people just realize that's not the thing anymore. Health is wealth. Get some sleep, drink some water, mind your business, right? So we're in a different phase. I'm personally in a different phase of life, right? I'm in a different phase of life. The last time I came to you, I was almost 3 years younger than I am now, right? Almost 3 years younger than I am now. A lot has changed. I am still the School of HardKnox. I will still motivate, inspire, and challenge. But I'm more concerned about you. I'm more concerned about your not necessarily just your thoughts and ideas like before, but I just want to make sure you're okay. You feel me? I want to make sure you're okay. I'm concerned about your well-being. There you go. I'm concerned about your well-being, not just your business, not just your side hustle. So we're going to deal with all of that, right? We're going to deal with all of that. This show is meant to be your weekly level set, right? There will be motivation. There will be challenge. There will be conviction. But ultimately, I'm here for you to get, 25 to 35 minutes of reality check. That's my mission with this new direction, right? That's my mission with this new direction. So yes, we're going to have fun like we used to. We're going to interview people like we used to. We going to keep it going. School of HardKnox is here. We're going to have a YouTube element. I got the camera rolling right now. Hopefully it's still recording. We're going to have a YouTube element. Try to refine that as we go. I got a new place to record. This is my red room. This is in my lower level. It's a, 8x9 room. It's like a box that I've got my records in. I've got a couple bottles of some rum and stuff that I got from Barbados this year. Some scotch that I've gotten for gifts. I've got some bourbon. I've got some Uncle Nearest whiskey for those of you who know. Black owned distillery. Kind of ornamental stuff, to be honest. It's ornamental. It's just kind of like where I got it down here. I don't really drink it that much. It's just kind of nice to look at. But the whole room is painted red. So this is Red Room Studios, right? This is my adult timeout. It's not a man cave. It's not that, because my wife uses it too, right? She's invited. This is just the adult timeout. This is where you go where you need a moment. So I got the podcast gear set up in here, and this is where I'm going to come to you from. Like I said, I got the camera rolling. We're going to post some things on YouTube on our same YouTube channel, School of HardKnox YouTube channel. I don't even remember the link, but it'll all be going through my personal Instagram page. So if you follow me on Instagram, Mark W. Knox, or you can put in School of HardKnox or whatever, that's KNOX, you'll be able to find it. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. And I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll stick with me. We're also going to talk about things that I never talked about before, right? Topics that I've never talked about before. And a lot of the reason why I've never talked about them before is based on one episode that I did, which was It was about freedom, right? It was about freedom to kind of say whatever you wanted to say. Well, I'm in a position now, it's a very unique position. It is awesome to where I don't have anybody looking over my shoulder. I don't have Big Brother looking over my shoulder. I'm not concerned with anybody from my W-2 job, because I don't have a W-2 job, listening to this podcast and discovering my politics, listening to this podcast and discovering my views on certain things. I don't care anymore. I don't care. And if I say things that you don't agree with, I don't care. That's the glory of having your own platform. I'm not here to get in a debate with anybody. I'm not going to explicitly make this show into politics, but I will tell you that you can't ignore what's going on around us right now. You can't ignore the contradictions in this world. You can't ignore what's happening to families right now. You just can't ignore it. So a lot of the things that we talk about, there has to be an element of politics. There has to be an element of policy. I'm not going to talk much in conspiracies or speculation. It'll just be facts. And a lot of stuff will be based on history as well. Right. So it is what it is. Again, if you don't agree with something I say, maybe you got to take a look at why you don't agree with it. Maybe you just got to take a look. I'm a pretty logical person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like, I don't wake up in the morning just like hating folks and just for the sake of it. Like, I don't do that. I'm pretty logical. But again, I'm not here to prove anything to you. This is my show. So I hope you join me. But it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be cutesy. Anyway, listen, I'll be back next week. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. Keep it right here. School of HardKnox podcast. I'm out. Thank you for listening to the School of HardKnox podcast. You can find our archives as well as new episodes by subscribing on Apple Podcast. Questions or concerns or feedback about the show? Message me directly on Instagram at the School of HardKnox. That's KNOX. Thank you for listening. See you next week.